Hi, it's Corey, the co-host of Bro Sports and host of Jerseys and Jail Cells, here to ask one favor to you guys. Please join our small but mighty channel to help us reach our goal of 100 subscribers by the end of April. And if we reach that goal, we will be doing a special edition podcast questionnaire of any question or idea that you guys might have down below in the comments of any of our podcasts. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Bro Sports.
Now, Aiden, let's take a look at what your power rankings are right now for the MLS. Take it away, Aiden.
New changes. Number 1 is Cinco.
Whoa. Freeze for a second there. What about Nashville and LA? You immediately started off with a team who's in what, 4th in the West? Hold up, wait, I have to wrap my head around this because that doesn't make sense. Just give me your reasoning. Why do you think so?
Because LAFC and Nashville not play enough tough opponents. If they don't play the tough opponents, they will lose. That's why I got them 5 and 6.
Wow. So you have them at 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So who are the 3 other teams above them that are in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot? San Diego. That's very interesting take. And I'm very curious. Go ahead, take it away.
San Jose is 2nd.
Honestly, though, I'm not mad about the decision. I actually think in my power rankings they're a little bit higher as well. But that's an interesting take. You said 3rd, right?
No,
Oh, 2nd, right? No, yeah, that's a good spot for San Jose. They're a really good team right now, for sure. Go ahead, take it away.
And the 3rd will be Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah, I mean, I have them also high on the power rankings of my own, so that's a good team. They've been really improving, and one of the things I really like about Vancouver, especially, is the fact that they know how to score goals. They have the most goals scored in the league right now at the moment with a goal differential of 12, and I would argue they played against relatively okay teams. I mean, they lost. Their one loss is to San Jose, who are right behind them, and that's a good team to play against. And you lost to them 1-0. I don't know. I just think there's some stuff behind that, but definitely that's a good spot for Vancouver. They're a relatively good team. Go ahead, Aiden.
And you're number 4. This team is so young. They play it all year round. You have your number 4, Salt Lake.
Honestly, Salt Lake, I kind of have them on the lower end personally. I just don't see enough in them, if that makes sense. Despite them being in 6th in the West, I just don't think they're there yet. I mean, it sounds crazy. They're a 3-1-1 team, but they just don't seem right now at this very moment. So keep going in. Obviously, now you're on the next ones,
And
5 and
now,
6.
number 5 is LAFC.
I'm conflicted with those two teams now. I think Nashville should honestly be a little higher than LA, only because of strength of schedule. LA hasn't really played against good teams just yet, and Nashville hasn't really either, but their teams have been slightly better. So I think I would put Nashville higher than LA, but again, that's who you think should be in those power rankings ultimately, Aiden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Number 7. I will this down really quickly, but I have Miami at number 7.
That's interesting. Because I think Miami should be slightly higher. I
Yeah.
actually think that Miami should be at least top 5. Miami had a tough start, but they've played a relatively strong schedule to start off, and the only game I would say is an exception that would be a team that's on the bad side is Orlando. Otherwise, they beat second place New York. They beat who else did they beat? I'm brain farting. I can't remember
Easy.
DC. They did do that. And I see more in Miami, and it's not because of the fact that it's messy and all that, but like they tied with Charlotte. They beat Orlando 4-2. They beat New York 3-2 after being down, and again they played against LAFC and lost 3 to nothing. But again, they were just starting out, and they also beat DC, and DC's 6th. I think when you do, like you said, strength of schedule, I think you should have put Miami a little higher. But again, we can come up with a combined power rankings as to where we think teams should be. Once we're done with our discussions for our power rankings. Go ahead.
Number 8, Colorado.
I don't really have to say much about Colorado. I'm not really a fan of Colorado. They're not even on my power rankings, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen enough from them. So
And number 9, Houston.
Houston's another one that I just don't think is there yet. I mean, they're ninth. They are a playoff team, but the thing that I don't see enough of is the consistency on that team. So I wouldn't want to put them personally in a top 10 power rankings, but again, I haven't seen enough other than just inconsistent games that I've tuned into here and there.
And then your final one, number 10. It's the little brother to LAFC. It's LA, number 10.
See, that's another thing, Aiden. They're not even in the playoffs, so I don't even they're not even in the playoff ranking. I wouldn't personally put them even top 15. They're just not a good team right now. And I think there's a few other teams in the league that I think are a little bit better than LA for sure. And one of them, there's like 2 I can even name. But again, who knows? You can fight me on this. Why do you think LA should be in the top 10?
They got an ex-New York striker.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got Klaus
Mm-hmm.
from St. Louis. And they got number 7. And Klaus scored like 3 different times on the side of the ball. And their ex-New York strikers score like 2 times
Mm-hmm.
with the ball. That's why I got them.
I mean, there is definitely reasons. There is stuff I see in that team that can be good. It's the same thing with like New England. There is good aspects of the team, but they haven't put it together yet that shows that they can be good. For example, LAFC, they're 1, 2, and 2. They do know how to get points. The problem is that they need to figure out their their team dynamic is what it is. It's the team dynamic thing that is the issue with some of these teams that are at the bottom of the table. For example, Sporting Kansas City, uh, New England Revolution, Portland, St. Louis. It's their like team dynamic is what the problem is right now for some of these teams at the bottom, and they don't know how to establish it. They just expect to get good results by just bringing in all these players, but they need to bring in the right players that can mesh with the team correctly, and they don't think about it that way. So it's just hard to really see a team like that just yet in the even the top 15. I don't know. But hey, that is a good I can give you credit. The first like 5 are reasonable, or top 6. Anything else after that though, I am not really sure. Um like 7th, because you said Miami's at 7th, right? So I said that Miami should be higher. But yeah, I don't know, man. All I know is I have a completely different power rankings from yours. You want to know what mine is?
What?
All right, let's see. Let me show you. So, before I really thought about like this is I did this before really looking back at what the strength the schedule was for each team. I have LA, or I have Nashville and LA at number 1 and 2. Now, you can make the argument that Nashville and LA have not played to the best teams. They haven't. And for LA, the only team that they've played against that they beat 3-0 against was Inter Miami, which is a top 3 team in the East. And the problem with that though is that again, the other teams they've played against are either teams that haven't even aren't at that cut line for playoffs, or they were teams that were basically injured essentially. And that's just what happens when you're the in the professional realm, is that things are going to happen. But at the end of the day, if you're winning games and you're winning games by good margins, as far as I'm concerned, I don't that doesn't none of that really matters. So I have Nashville and LAFC at number 2. Following that, I have Inter Miami at 3. Now, Inter Miami has played a tough start schedule. They played against DC United. They've played against LAFC. They've played against um uh New York. So like, yes, when it going based off of strength of schedule for Inter Miami, for sure, definitely I would put them at a higher position, because especially in the New York Miami game, they were down 2-1 at halftime, if I'm not mistaken, correct? And then they ended up coming back and scoring 2 more goals to ultimately win the game, and that's impressive. That really is impressive.
That's like a New York choke fashion.
It really is, and I don't know what more to say about it. Miami is doing what they have been doing for the last few seasons now.
And New York's just like Orlando.
Yeah, they choke it. Exactly. And then that's just as much as I have to say for Inter Miami. They're just Inter Miami. They're gonna do it. They're gonna get the job done, especially when Messi's still there.
Maybe Messi will win another Golden Boot again, Pablo.
He very much could. Number 4, I have San Jose. I just think San Jose has got it figured out. The fact that Bruce Arena can just come into a team and just change it within a season just shows how good of a coach he is.
And they still have Jones still.
He actually got an Achilles surgery.
Oh.
Yeah, and funny that you mentioned that. I saw on Instagram he was in a hospital bed with his Achilles injury. He got a surgery done on it, and so that's another thing. I mean, they lost a guy like DeJuan Jones, who's a good outside back, but I don't think he was starting for at least any of those games. But I know that DeJuan Jones can produce when he's on the field, and that is that's an unfortunate loss for the San Jose, for sure. But again, San Jose is going to find ways to win, and they seem to do that. So, and their strength of schedule wasn't too bad either. So I don't know. That team's pretty solid. I'm going to keep them at number 4. Number 5, I have Vancouver at number 5. I just think Vancouver knows how to score. They know what to do. They have a balanced team. They're second in the West. I mean, they just have everything figured out. They have lost a game, but they're 4-0-1. They're a really solid team. And that then brings me to the next team that I would argue is relatively good, but just below San Jose and Vancouver, is San Diego. San Diego is my number 6 position. San Diego is, I don't know how to judge them. I think they know where they're at, and they know how to score goals. They have 13 goals for them, 5 against them. They have a solid team. I just don't think they know how to put together the correct things just yet. They're very close. They very much are. I just think they don't know how to fully close out of games just yet. I mean,
When we saw this team last year, they went on fire.
Yeah, and obviously they're a new team. They just got in the league last year, if I'm not mistaken, correct? And they started off strong. They beat Montreal 5-0, but then they've just been they just tied. They just keep tying. They beat St. Louis, which isn't a good team. They beat Kansas City by only 1 point. And then the last 2 games have been ties. 3-3 against Dallas and 3-3 against Real Salt Lake. They're not very consistent, and especially when you're only beating the worst team in the league, 1-0, that just doesn't seem fit right for me. And not to mention, I didn't even also forgot to mention that in the Gold Cup round of 16, they lost to Tulsa 4-0 in the first game, and then they won 3-2 in the second game. But that didn't matter. They lost in aggregate. The point is, you have this good talent. You're a solid team. You have Lorenzo, yeah, Lozano. My mistake. You have Lozano. You have Emma Boateng. I forgot about Emma Boateng.
Yeah.
He's on that team.
Still.
He's a starter for the team. Wow. Is he a starter?
Yeah.
He's a starter for the team. You have a good guy who knows how to run, and you guys can't finish out a game. I'm baffled. Anyways, enough with San Diego. I have Seattle at number 7. Now, Seattle, this was a hard one because Seattle, the only reason why I think Seattle should honestly be above San Diego, but the problem with Seattle is that they want to be good when they want to. They tie with Minnesota, and they only beat San Jose by 1 goal. Which fine, they're playing against a good team, but they lost to, or excuse me, they they beat they beat Colorado 2-0 to start off the season, followed by a loss to Real Salt Lake, which okay, that is a little strange.
Oh,
And then they just barely beat St. Louis.
we got one thing right there. We have
Yeah,
to then.
and then they also tie against Minnesota. So like you're there, but you don't know yet where you're at, and that's as much as I have for them. Real Salt Lake, I have at number 9. Or sorry, I forgot about New York. New York is number 8. New York's simple. They're second in the East. They know how to get the job done. I just haven't seen enough from them, considering the fact that they lost to Inter Miami. They just barely squeaked by Philadelphia. They slaughter Orlando, which isn't a good team, and then they beat Colorado, who is also not really the greatest team either. Which again, which I'm surprised that you have Colorado on here, as they lost to New York 3-1. Which okay, sure, but I don't know. It just that team doesn't make sense. Anyways, following that, Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake, I'm not really a fan of. I just again haven't seen what I want to see from them. They're very inconsistent. Same with Seattle, which by the way, it was really difficult to choose this one because all these teams are relatively the same. Like from San Diego until Real Salt Lake, all these teams have been pretty much identical. I can't really rank them to the best because they all are really, really the same team, to be honest with you. And there's really no difference in between any of them, other than one point, really. And then finally, I have Charlotte at 10. I think Charlotte is a good team. They have the potential. The problem that I think they have is the lack of the they score goals, but they also let in a lot too many goals. And that they lose to teams like LA Galaxy 3-0. But then they beat a team like the New York Red Bulls, and then they beat Austin, and then they tie with Inter Miami. So it's like they know how to win. The problem that I have is that they seem fairly inconsistent with what they want to do. Um, you know, as a team. So yeah, that's my power rankings. I have nothing else really to say. But it's just this this type of power rankings is difficult with all these teams being fairly similar in um ability and capabilities for the team. And obviously you also guys probably realize we don't have New England Revolution in anywhere near our power rankings, as they definitely don't deserve to be in there. I actually, in fact, don't even think they should be in the top 20, because New England is terrible. And it seems as though in recent recently, who knows if it's an April Fool's joke? It probably is, but they have this Brazilian influencer that keeps stating that he signed some kind of agreement with the New England Revolution. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you signing a sports Brazilian influencer? Are we that desperate for players that were signing in sports influencers? Like, I don't think it's real. But if it is real, then I'm sorry, New England. You guys are the worst organization I have ever been a fan of. Because in no right mind, or no one's right mind, would turn around. I don't care if this person has really good, really good skills or whatever. But, like, at the end of the day, they're a sports influencer. They have 20 million followers on social media, and they haven't played a lick of professional sports. Why would you turn around and allow a sports influencer to come on your team? It doesn't make sense. But nonetheless, hopefully the April Fool's joke. Hopefully it's an April Fool's joke. But hopefully we'll find out within by the end of today if it was in fact a joke. Because that was not a funny April Fool's joke if it was. Aiden, now let's remind everybody on what your predictions were for this weekend's games. Let's kick it off.
We got Toronto FC. Almost brain fart. Toronto FC against Colorado. I got Toronto winning 3-2. And then everybody will have a funny joke. An April Fool joke. I got New England winning 3-0 against Montreal. And then I got Vasalik winning 5-0 against Kansas City. And then I got New York FC winning 3-2 against 3-0 against St. Louis. And then I got New York Red Bulls winning 3-2 against FC Cincinnati. And then Atlanta against Columbus Crew. I got Atlanta winning 3-2 against Columbus. And then I got Miami in Austin. I got Miami winning 4-3. And then I got DC United winning against Dallas 3-2. And then I got Charlotte winning against the Union 5-0. I got Chicago winning against Nashville 3-2. LAFC winning 4-0 against Orlando. And then I got COC winning against San Diego. And then I got Vancouver winning 2-1 against Portland. And then your LA against Minnesota. I got your LA winning 2-1.
Do you have any other final thoughts for the people at home, Aiden?
Watch that video. I will make a second one soon, and then y'all be happy. I can make my second video forever.
Absolutely. And if you guys don't know what he is talking about, he is referring to his new podcast, Aiden's Corner, that will be up every Tuesday at 5. So go check it out, as it is a life skills podcast where Aiden will teach you and talk about what's on his mind. Don't forget to tune in to Bro Sports every Thursday at 12. And then, following that, going on Sunday at 5, don't forget to tune in for Jerseys and Jail Cells. I'm your host, Corey Raftery.
Eden host, Eden Rafter.
And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Raftery Productions, as we are trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of this month. Have a good one, and
take care.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.